And welcome back to Hannity as we are broadcasting from the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center for this year's CPAC, which begins tomorrow. And for the first time in many years, the sitting president of the United States will be in attendance here at this conference this year. And joining us now is the counselor to the president, and might I add, the first woman in American history to ever be a campaign manager of a winning campaign. Let's welcome Kellyanne Conway. Good to see you. Good to see you. Come on. I can't hear you. Good to see you. What's new? Anything happening lately?
Had an incredible first month with President Action, President Impact, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, fun. You know, we've known each other for over 20 years, probably 25.
Easily.
A little easily, great.
That's the birth date of some of these people.
I know.
I'm feeling
Is that true?
old.
How many here are 20 years old or younger? Okay, I hate you. All right.
Love it.
But you know,
That's great.
I've known you, and I've watched. I have a list here of everything that the president has accomplished in 30 days. The list is extensive and long, and but for my show, and maybe one other show, nobody in the media has talked about the incredible pace, speed, and success of the president. Why do you think that is?
So some people talk about biased or fair coverage, or lack of fair coverage. My grievance is really full coverage. We want the complete story told. So President Trump has initiated probably about 23, 24 executive actions since he got on the job a little over a month ago, Sean. Basically, one of them has gotten all of the attention. And I think there's something called presumptive negativity. It's what is he saying? What are his advisors saying? What are they doing today? There must be something wrong with it. Must be something negative. And I just would ask people, give us a wide berth. Actually focus on what he's doing. He's keeping all these campaign promises at a quick clip. And he's never a guy who's in a rush to do the wrong thing. His entire career, which has been decidedly outside of politics and government, has been one of deliberation, of deal-making. I mean, he just absorbs information. I've never seen a more brilliant communicator, a more natural connector with individuals, with information, with issues. And he's been a transactional guy his entire life. He absorbs the information he needs, he weighs the consequences, and he's been doing that as president in the first month. But the list is long and growing. Just today, he talked about having a budget soon. He talked about Obamacare replacement coming in the next few weeks. Obviously, taxes will go hand in hand with that. We've got energy investment, trade deals being renegotiated. He's had all these roundtable discussions with everybody from CEOs to laborers to the coal miners were in last week.
The Alibaba guy?
Real impact.
The Intel
$7 billion investment that I'm told is just sitting on the shelf. So, but that's my point. I mean, there are such great stories to tell, facts and figures to put out there, stories to tell that we just want to make sure are reaching people. But I have a lot of faith in the wisdom of the American people. They can go and pull the information themselves. It's why so many people in the mainstream media don't like the president using Twitter. Too bad. He's cutting out the middleman. It's the democratization of information where everyone can see at the same time what the President of the United States just said, what he just expressed.
You know, by the way, this is another example of fake news. I have an article here put out by CNN. Shocking. Kellyanne Conway sidelined from TV after Flynn debacle. How many days have you been booked on this show for today? You were never sidelined.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, somebody's trying to stir up trouble. But look, about 5% of what I'm being asked to do in this White House counsel role is TV. And I think that's about right because he's the president now, and he's his own best messenger. In just the last week, he held a press conference, 77 minutes, took 17 questions. And you got that information for free all at the same time. And then 2 days later, he was at a rally in Florida. So he's his own best messenger. We don't need to be out there all the time. There are some people, I think, trying to get in my way. I've also gobbled up a lot of other people's TV opportunities. So there's some resentment on the outside, I believe, and folks just trying to use me as clickbait in a headline. But I'm there to serve the president who's there to serve the American people. And I know very clearly what the portfolio includes, what I'm doing as part of his senior team, and I'm comfortable with that. You know, in the Trump White House, we're playing long ball, long haul, and it would have been nice to have been consulted on that. I don't think I have to explain myself if I'm not going to go on TV for a week. If I'm out with 4 kids for 3 days looking at houses and schools, a lot of my colleagues aren't trying to figure out how to be a mother of 4 kids, I assure you.
Yeah, congratulations. Well, when I saw the headline, I literally have a list that is now pages long of all the fake news stories. But I read the story today, and I'm like, well, that's impossible because she's booked on my show.
And show's tomorrow and 2.
Yeah, I know.
It's not even worth arguing because it actually doesn't bother us. You know, some things are really, really small, and the presidency and Donald Trump in the presidency and Vice President Pence there, that's really, really big. They're going to do things that impact people's lives. And I have to tell you, all those statistics you give every single night on your show, every day on the radio, Sean, I know those statistics are going to improve under this president and vice president. That's why I'm here, that's why you're here, and that's why it's a future shared by all.
And I honestly think the key to any political success is keeping your promises. And we see this unfolding and happening every day. And I just think that you have a lot of fierce opposition out there, and this is real. This is organized. I would argue money is behind it. I would even argue that probably Obama is stirring. Remember, he was encouraging all the protests? That's what he said publicly. I have to wonder what he might... Soros! Yeah, Soros. And I have to wonder what he might be doing privately. But, you know, the main thing is if you are able to get Americans back to work and back out of poverty and off of food stamps, and you're able to make us energy independent and give us a better health care system and secure the country through vetting and walls, to me, that would be so refreshing. So my question is about Congress. I talk about the speed of Trump and the pathetically slow speed of Congress. I had Speaker Ryan on my show, and I asked him very pointed questions. When is this going to be done? He said legislatively in 200 days, and he's consulting with the White House. Are you confident that it will all be done as you want it in 200 days, the president wants?
In my view, President Trump, just his sheer pace of action ups everybody else's game. I mean, he is setting the agenda, the tone, the content, the pace, and you can't help when you're around him to want to try to even meet those expectations and those goals and that pace. I know that Speaker Ryan and Leader McConnell and the other leaders in the House and Senate are very hard at work and working very closely with the White House on a number of measures. And but I will tell you one thing.
How many of you trust them?
I will tell you one thing. I trust them to do the right thing. And I'll tell you one thing. It's called causation, not coincidence, that the electorate this time ended divided government. They were so tired of the excuse of divided government from both sides. Oh, we can't do X and Y even though we promised because we don't have the White House. Oh, we can't do X and Y even though we promised because we don't have the Congress.
Now they have.
They have it all now. They have most of the governorships. They have most of the state legislatures, and that's not a mistake. That's not a fluke. That's the electorate saying we actually want action, not impediment.
We got to take a break. Kellyanne, staying with us. We'll come back as we continue. And welcome back to Hannity. We are at CPAC 2017, and we continue with Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway. I want to just stay on this issue. I did feel better after I interviewed Paul Ryan, and he promised me in 200 days, legislatively, things are going to get done. And there are, in fairness to them, we got to deal with reconciliation because of the way the health care bill was passed. It's got to pass. It's got to be revenue neutral. It's got to be CBO scored. So there are challenges to do it. But the reality is I want the vetting. I want the economic plan that the president talked about. I want energy independence. I want it all. And he said it legislatively in 200 days. He thinks that can happen.
Yes, and this is a Congress that's been working on these issues for years. I mean, look at repealing and replacing Obamacare, something they've been preparing for but never had a chance because President Obama was not going to repeal Obamacare. But now you have Secretary Price, who was in the Congress all those years. You have Director Mulvaney at OMB, who was in the Congress all these years. These are folks who are working with their former colleagues, and I'm very confident that legislation will be there.
How about General Kelly? He's been great.
Unbelievable.
Or Mad Dog Mattis?
Mad Dog Mattis, Rex Tillerson at State, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. The list goes on and on. We have 14 cabinet secretaries, I believe, latest count confirmed, but some still waiting for their votes. Really, talk about a lethargic pace, a lot of obstructionism there. But in the end, this is Donald Trump putting together a really brilliant, very conservative cabinet of trusted advisors, men and women really who have other things to do and other places to be, who wish to serve at this point in time, this president and this vice president.
I want to add one point and then we'll go to questions. I have watched you be attacked viciously and unfairly. We've seen it happen to the president, but everybody around him, they even attacked his 10-year-old son. They've attacked his wife. They've attacked Ivanka. They've attacked Jared. They've attacked Steve Bannon, Steve Miller, Reince Priebus. They have attacked anybody associated with the president, and it's my belief that the left has almost become totally and completely unhinged at this moment and cannot seem to accept the reality they lost and your team won. All right, let's go to a question.
What I'd like them to say is that America won. I mean, this is I tell everyone it was a victory. I get a lot of credit. We had an amazing team, and of course, no substitute for excellent quality candidates in Donald Trump and Mike Pence, no question. But even if it wasn't your victory and your choice, it is your future. It is a future shared by all. And the idea that you don't respect the office of the presidency and its current occupant, at least give him a chance to succeed. This is just not the way I was raised anyway. And look, the attacks are one thing. I think when you work for President Trump, you take his lead and his guidance on that. He's pretty impervious to his naysayers.
By the way, if you take his lead, that means you do not sleep
and you
ever.
Focus. I know, it's a mystery to me.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited. I've been coming to CPAC for, oh my God, probably 15, 20 years on and off as a speaker. And the one thing I've always talked about that actually came true through Donald Trump is I have stood on the stage like this for years and talked about the fiction of electability, that in the Republican Party, we always ask this ridiculous question, who can win? You can win, you can't win, she can't win. It's like these three poisonous words, you can win, you can't win. We're sucking the lifeblood out of our would-be nominees. And Donald Trump replaced electability with electricity. He went back to the grassroots and said, come with me. I'm not building a traditional campaign, I'm building a movement. And people felt like they were a part of that. Even if you didn't support him at the beginning,
well said, really.
People felt like they were a part of it. And so he's got all that goodwill coming in with him of people who believed in him because of his message. He comes to Washington owing no one anything.
That's why.
And that's why he'll get a lot done.
That's why I think people need to stay engaged. Hi. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Ashley Camilla, and I'm from Franklin, Massachusetts.
Very nice to see you.
I'm here with Turning Point USA. And my question to Ms. Conway is, how do we, as conservative women, take down the identity and gender politics of the left?
I think she was addressing me, Kellyanne. No, okay. Go right ahead.
He heard gender, he got all excited. Well, I think you start out by recognizing in this past election, women comprised the majority of the electorate, and the female candidate did not win. And that means that many people in the electorate looked past gender identity. And look, as a country, I think most Americans say, yes, I'd like to have a female president, just not that one. It wasn't a hypothetical, it was Hillary. And with that came a lot of baggage, and a majority of Americans telling pollsters, even in the major media polls, Sean, that they didn't trust her and they didn't much like her. And I think that female candidates often can benefit from being seen as great negotiators, consensus builders, fresh and new to politics. There's a reason you've never heard the term the old girls network. There isn't one. And so women are often seen as less corruptible, more ethical, et cetera. And she just was not confused with any of that. But I think, look, it's a great question because people they're somewhat entranced by gender. They'll say, oh, if you share my gender, that's, quote, interesting, let me take another look. But they really want to know that you share their issue set, their ideology, their faith in the future. That's what we really vote on and care about. And I'm very proud of the electorate for looking past that and looking toward who share their values, their issues, and their vision for the future.
Great answer. All right, one quick question, and we got to take a break. Hi.
Hi, my name is Teresa Moreland, Florida. And
Swing state voter. Thank you, Florida.
Thanks, Ms. Kellyanne, for being a woman of integrity first.
Thank you.
What would you recommend to women wanting to start their career path in politics now and having the desire to help President Trump administration make America great again.
Thank you. Well, first, we accept all comers in terms of people who would like to serve and help this administration. So do give me a call, and I mean that. Look me up, give me a call. In terms of starting in politics, I think one thing everybody, regardless of their gender, has to realize right now is that the old saying, you have to have the fire in your belly, is true, but now you also have to have the bile in your throat. There's a lot to swallow in today's politics, a lot of negativity, a lot of venom, and just to look past that and really focus on the issues and the ideas that motivate you. I think for women starting out in politics, I would say do what you do regardless of industry. Accept the word no more often than you say it. And so if people are asking you to volunteer or help out or come to something on a weekend, just do it. Don't say no to it, because I don't think opportunity always knocks twice. Learn the fundamentals. Get with the grassroots. Learn how to organize a precinct, how to write a press release, how to engage with folks door to door, because there's no substitute for retail politics. Look what happened in this election. Had we not had the grassroots like this, had we not had a candidate in Donald Trump who refused to did not need as much money, as much personnel as Hillary Clinton had, and did it through force of going out there and talking about substance and issues, that would be my recommendation. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Very nice. I just want to say one thing, because we've been friends for so many years. Are you proud of how hard she's been working? Kellyanne, thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, Dr. Sebastian Gorka will join us. Also, Matt Schlapp will join us on the CPAC stage as we continue.